Hi everyone. So this is going to be my backdating on pregnancy video. The first thing that I feel is really important to put out there is that Isabel was planned, but there is a story behind that. It's quite a sensitive topic, but I feel that it's important that you all know. I conceived a child when I was 18 years old, and this was completely unplanned. We were using contraception at the time, and we were really shocked when it happened, because you just presume that if you use contraception, it won't happen to me, I'll just be protected then, but it's not the case at all. And then we came around to the idea, and we were really excited. But at about 6 weeks, about 6 weeks, I miscarried. I started some bleeding. So we went to the doctors, and they took me for a scan, and they confirmed then that I had miscarried that baby. And from that point on, we always felt this real loss. It was like there was always something missing, and I was just never happy, and Andy wasn't happy. And so when we moved into our flat together, and our financial situation was a bit more secure, we had a big long talk. We decided that the only reason for not having a baby would be because of what people might think. Like I said, everything else was ready. We were ready in every other way. We were just worried that people would judge us, I suppose. But we got over that, and we just thought, you can't hang around in your life waiting for things to be acceptable for everyone else, because everyone has different opinions on when you should do things. You're either too old or too young, or you're not mature enough, or people have so many views and different things that you really have just got to do what is right for you and your family. So we decided to try to conceive, and we did, pretty much straight away. We had no problems, but then I miscarried that child as well at 8 weeks, and that was really tough. I can't describe that to anyone that hasn't been through it. It's just the most awful heartbreak that I think anyone can ever go through. I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy. So I thought for the whole time through the grief of losing that child that I couldn't have children. And I think it may have crossed Andy's mind as well. But we tried again, and baby number 3 is Isabel. So that's just that story. So we conceived Izzy in October 2010, which sounds like so long ago now. And it's weird to think that this time last year I would be only nearly 2 months pregnant. So yeah, it was quite scary. I remember last year, because I was coming up to the point near Christmas. I was coming up to 8 weeks or 9 weeks, so that was about the time I miscarried the last time. So I was really scared, and it put a bit of a downer on Christmas. So I'm really looking forward to Christmas this year because she's here. I was promised a reassurance scan, which I really had to push for with the NHS, but they did give me one at 8 weeks, and that was really good because I did loads of research, and I found that if they detect a heartbeat at 8 weeks, there's a better chance of survival and successful pregnancy. And they did detect a heartbeat, and it was strong, and everything was fine. So I felt a real relief. I'm going to try and find you the photos. So these here, this is Izzy at 8 weeks, these two here. And I don't know whether you can see very well, but you can just about make out a head, and then 2 little buds for arms and 2 little buds for legs. So that was really good to see, and I really enjoyed that scan. So I found my first trimester pretty easy, really. I was never sick. I was really lucky with that. Although I did feel sick, and it was mainly at night. So I always find it weird that they call it morning sickness, but apparently they call it morning sickness because you get it in the first trimester. So it's like the beginning of your pregnancy, if that makes any sense to anyone. I was going to the toilet all the time. I was really tired, and I had lots of headaches. I always suffered with headaches and migraines anyway, so I didn't really notice that too much. The one symptom I did have in my first trimester that used to really worry me was period pain. I had period pain all the time. I think when I put that down to, I think it was probably just the stretching of the uterus. So there was nothing to worry about. So I made it to 12 weeks, and I was really happy because I was in the second trimester. And I have pictures from that as well. This one here is Izzy at 12 weeks. Can you see that? I started to approach 17 weeks, and so we booked a gender scan. We booked our gender scan with Baby Bond in Bridge North, and that was really good. I think it cost £80. I think it was 80, but it was really good. You got your normal ultrasound in 2D, and then they did a 3D as well. So I'll show you the 3D one. Actually, they call it 4D real time, so don't really know. This is her. The glare's really bad off the screen. You can see that there's her arm up by her face, the other arm here, and if you look carefully there, you can see her umbilical cord. And then you've got her eyes and nose and lips. And that was really good. That's when we found out she was a girl. And we also got a DVD with the ultrasound. So if I can somehow figure out how to put the DVD in this video, I will do so, or I'll put it as a separate video. I might have to ask Andy for help with that one. Everything was fine through the second trimester as well. I was actually really lucky in my pregnancy. I don't really have any complaints. I grew well. I didn't really put on much weight. I was never sick, as I said. I did go to the toilet all the time. And towards the second trimester, excuse me, I was eating all the time. I was so hungry. Nothing would satisfy that. I could have literally eaten constantly all day and still be hungry. She was taking everything out of me. I think in the second trimester, that's when I noticed my boobs getting bigger. I know some girls have that at the beginning of their pregnancy, but I didn't. It started all of a sudden in the second trimester. It's like I just woke up one day with big boobs. So, yeah. Then at 20 weeks, we had our routine 20-week ultrasound. So we went for that. I have a few pictures of her from that. I'm just going to show you those. That is these down here. There's one there, you can see the skull of the arm and the tummy. And then there's the other one there. Where you can see her, this is like, it's a really weird angle, but this is like her legs, and then she's looking up, she's looking in between through her legs. You can see her two eye sockets there, and the skull. It's actually quite a creepy photo, but there we go. So towards the end of my pregnancy in the third trimester, when I was getting really big, I developed SPD, which is syphilis pubis dysfunction. And that's where your body produces a hormone called relaxin, and it only does this during pregnancy, and that just relaxes all your joints. So they almost start to grind against one another, which is obviously really painful. I got it in my pelvis and my hips. So getting up in the middle of the night when I needed to go to the toilet was really hard. And it was always really difficult to get comfy in bed, so I was sleeping less. So I told my midwife about my SPD, and she referred me to physio, and that was okay. We went into, I thought it would just be me and the physio, just like one-to-one, but it was actually a group. And she just handed us these, looks like these tubey grips, like a really big tubey grip, like you'd have on a sprained wrist or ankle. It was through your whole stomach, and she said like you just needed to wear it from your thigh up to over your belly. So it's sort of like holding everything in and holding all your joints together so they don't grind as much. I didn't really wear it that much because towards the end of my pregnancy it was getting really warm. It was basically summertime, so I mean you're hot in pregnancy anyway, you're always warmer than other people. So not only was it really warm summer, I was pregnant and then they wanted me to wear a tubey grip. So that was not going to happen. Weird thing about my pregnancy, I don't know if anyone else has had this. I know a lot of people get the brown line that you get from your belly button down to your pubic bone while they're pregnant. I got that. but I also got like a brown belly button, like the inside of my belly button was just brown. So I don't really know where that came from. That has thankfully gone now. I didn't take any bog standard antenatal classes. My mom actually offered to buy me a course one-to-one with a woman who taught hypnobirthing. I don't know if any of you have heard about it, but it's basically where you try to teach yourself to see birth in a completely different way. So you don't anticipate it as something that's going to be painful and horrific and horrible. It teaches you that you are a woman and you're designed to have children, and it shouldn't be a painful process. You just have to. It teaches you all these different breathing techniques and relaxation techniques. So it almost is like you sort of learn how to put yourself into a hypnotic state. And I have those lessons over 6 weeks, every week. And I love them. The woman was so nice, and I would recommend it to anyone. Unfortunately, I didn't get to use it because I had to have a cesarean. Although I did kind of use it, I suppose. I was obviously really scared, and I did find that I could use the relaxation techniques I'd learned to calm me down. From 37 weeks onwards, so like the very, very end of my pregnancy, I started to get false labour, Braxton Hicks, and really sharp cervical pain. I was shopping and grocery shopping, and I just had to keep stopping. I remember it was really embarrassing. So everyone was just looking at me like, "God, are you in labour? Are your waters broke? What's wrong?" Talk about my ECD. This is a procedure where they try to manipulate the baby to turn them around inside your stomach. There are a few risks. The risks are that it can distress the child and it will put you into labour. I said that I would go because my midwife reassured me that they wouldn't even attempt it if they didn't think that it was possible or they had any queries about it being possible. So I booked my ECD and I went along and I went into a room, just a normal room, kind of like an ultrasound room, and I lay on the bed. And the consultant came in. She was really nice, and she explained everything, all the risks, and what she was going to do, and what would happen in each scenario, whether she was breech or not. And then she did an ultrasound, and at that point, she just said that she wasn't even going to try because Izzy's head was engaged. Izzy's bum was engaged even. Normally the head should be engaged, like drops down into your pelvis, but Izzy's bum had dropped into my pelvis, and she just said that she wasn't going to put her under the stress of trying to push her out my pelvis. So at that point, I put my cesarean for 39 weeks, and that was a really surreal experience. Like they gave me 3 dates to choose from, and it was kind of like picking my child's birthday. It was really weird knowing the day that she was going to be born.